Hello, viewers of our Stop the Destruction of the World program. Last week, Dr. Keppe was talking to you about the issue of social schizophrenia. And this would fundamentally be the main cause for all the calamities that we are passing through in humanity today. This attitude that the human being has of not wanting to have any consciousness of the psycho and social pathology and how one lives in an inverted way, in an upside-down way. And this leads to even limiting one's intelligence in terms of perception, of actual consciousness, of the dangers, of the calamities that we are leading towards in very large steps. Take a look at the material that we have selected about the oceans this week, which is what we will talk about now. We depend on the ocean, of course. This is obvious. They cover 71% of the surface of our planet. The water in the oceans are composed of 95% of the available space for life on Earth. Of the 6 billion people on the planet, 2 billion, imagine, depend on the nutritious diet that is directly related to the sea and comes mainly from the products found in the ocean. And we just don't stop destroying and polluting the oceans. Scientists are alarmed with the pollution in the oceans and study the impact of this, mapping the most affected regions. So you will see that in 41%, in nearly half the areas, they already represent a risk to the human being's life. We are managing to transform the source of life into the source of death of humanity. Do you notice the inversion in this? Because even the animals should depend on us, on our orientation. We are the head of the scale, said Darwin. Darwin said that on an evolutionary scale that we descend from the monkey and that we became human beings. But we are, in reality, inferior. We are in a much more inferior level than animals. Why? Because we attack life. You will notice that when there is a tsunami, what happens with the animals and with many of the monkeys? They run away from the tsunami. Before the tsunami occurred in Asia, the big one, the animals moved away towards higher ground so that they would survive the flooding. And we should have a perception a lot more superior than those of monkeys or of elephants when a disaster is about to take place. Even reptiles flee from destruction, and we promote destruction. There is something very wrong, very inverted, that Keppe can explain, analyze, and he can explain it through triological science. And it is of great importance for viewers to take note of this science. Dr. Keppe?
I wrote a book some time ago. We have it here. Psychoanalysis of Society. This is a study of society. Even though in those days I based myself on Freudian psychoanalysis, whereas now I base myself more on the development of my own work. So, what I would like to show you, who are watching, is that society was also created by the divine being. Notice that ants, for example, that we all have experience with, not from being bitten by ants, but the lines that they make, the runways of transactions that they instinctively do, they always live within their societies. Bees also live in their societies. Even large animals like elephants live together. Lions also live together. So, society is fundamental for the preservation of the human being. And what is an authentic society? Let's see the chart that I've made for you.
Society, in essence, is good, beautiful, and honest.
That is, society has to serve the human being in goodness. help him to have goodness. Society has to be beautiful. It can't be ugly, horrible. There has to be a sense of aesthetics everywhere. And it has to be truthful. Truthful, for example, the judicial part, the laws. They have to be true in order to bring justice to the people, so that each one has what he needs. Also, the laws must preserve the social structure and not permit those who are unethical to dominate the situation and create laws to their own advantage, based on the pleasures of their own sick minds that many of these people have. So, in second place, what does society cause?
Society, per se, supplies mental equilibrium.
You will notice that the balanced person is well adapted to society. Not these mini-societies like the mafia, or these societies that steal, secret societies, or organizations of drugs, etc. I'm not referring to this, but one who is well adapted to a just society, which is correct and with equilibrium.
Even communitarian. Correct, Dr. Keppe?
These are balanced individuals, and it's these balanced people who help to provide equilibrium for society, to help this equilibrium. Let's see the chart now. Thirdly,
the function of society per se is superior to that of the human being. It is for this reason that we have to preserve the good functioning of our society.
Of course, there are societies that have been distorted. For example, in the German society, Germany had an enormous development. But there arose a horrific individual, you know who he is, Adolf Hitler, who created a totally militarized situation, a sick society, because he himself was sick and took advantage of some of the things that the people were attracted to, and for a moment created a certain social justice through National Socialism, and then immediately afterwards started to wage war. And this line of destruction just finished up with that nation. So what solution can I bring to you in order to avoid an exploitative society, such as the capitalist society, or also the communist, Marxist society? I created a name for this solution. It's called Productivism. At this point in time, I believe the best possibility for society would be a society that produces beneficial goods. Not enormous quantities of cars, of tractors, of airplanes and such, consumerism, but rather a society that provides machines for the well-being of the human being. One that decreases this terrible work that the human being has, of working from sunrise to sundown, of buying and selling, of extracting everything from the land. This terrible type of work that nobody likes to do, but which can, in time, even be substituted by the work of machines, but not to generate profit for those who already have most of the money, these socio-economic powers, but one that generates profits for all the people. So let's see this chart then.
Productivist regimes. Predominance in production and not focused on money.
I wrote a book called Work and Capital. And in this book I discussed the importance of putting work above capital, and capital having its origin in work, as a result of work, obviously. In this book I discussed the negative process of money speculation that takes away the individual's initiative to develop, to acquire culture, takes away the development of the country, and causes people to live like layabouts, vagabonds, hanging around all the time. The individual who speculates is a vagabond, does nothing for nobody. All he wants to do is make money. So, referring back to the chart, in second place,
mainly refined products, that is, ones that have quality.
So, just consider this. We even made a motor. We've invented a motor that extracts energy from the ether, as Aristotle called it. a motor that does not take its energy entirely from gasoline, as our cars presently do, or from sugarcane, that is, from alcohol, or from any other product that is harmful to the human being. So take here in Sao Paulo, for example. Now they are planning to construct a circular expressway around the city, so that trucks crossing the city don't need to enter into the city, and to better facilitate cars going from the seashore to the countryside, and traffic from the countryside to the seashore. But this should have been done a long time ago. Where are these people in positions of power who just haven't done this? And where are they now to do this immediately, in order to alleviate some of this pollution that is killing the citizens of Sao Paulo? Currently, respiratory illnesses are alarmingly high in Sao Paulo due to this. All the traffic goes through the Bandeirantes Avenue. Listen, my friends, the powerful are here to serve the people. Are you not aware of this? So what is being done about this? These mayors and governors, if they don't work for the people, then they are working against the people. So then they shouldn't be in power. Let's see what else I've written.
The productionist regime seeks populational equilibrium, and also of money and foodstuffs. There is a predominant action in relation to sensorialism.
Now recently, even the clergy are seeing the necessity of leaving behind these relatively trivial sexual issues, these things of abortion all the time, and the problems that the population in general have. Of course, these problems exist. Even the problem of pedophilia exists, obviously. But this is not the fundamental problem which generates all these other problems. What is generating problems in humanity is the attitude of arrogance, of envy, this strong attitude against the well-being of the population, which is causing so much anxiety. And then one tries to drown his anxiety in an excess of food, in money, and also sex. So let's see now this sentence that I've got for you.
The world is the divine kingdom which the Creator organized.
So, if a person is not developing society in agreement with the divine kingdom, which is of goodness, of beauty, and the truth, then who is he making society for? Do I need to say? This individual who is so deformed that it is said that he even has horns, the existence of the demon. So the world is being formed by him. It's now time for the world to wake up, especially the powerful ones, and just allow the people to have a better standard of living, a better life, instead of taking everything possible from the people.
That is going to be advantageous for them, for the powerful themselves.
Even if we don't have a lot of consciousness, we can perceive that life is divine. We live in transcendence, whether we accept it or not. We still live in an earthly paradise, except we don't accept it. In fact, we attack what is most beautiful, good, and real. Consciousness of our envy and inversion will make it possible for us to return to this paradise we've abandoned. We don't need to build it. We just need to accept it. The Stop the Destruction of the World Association was created to bring about exactly this consciousness. We are working to return the world to goodness. Join us.
I'm going to put up a sentence that is very important. Let's take a look.
The only wealth in our lives is the goodness that we do.
So, are you able to notice that those who are the most greedy, those who only want pleasures in life, that is, those who are sick, they live like life is enormously long, unlimited. But life here is very short. By the time people are 40, they all want to retire. They're already tired. By 60, many have already abandoned their work. At least half the population is dying. Even up to 60 or 70% of the population is dying between the ages of 60 and 80. And so why is this happening? Because they already have this idea that death arrives at this age span. And also considering the pollution factor with this terrible work situation, which we can even call slave labor. The situation of society, as Claudia mentioned, the pollution of the seas, the air, of the land, this is destroying the human being. We have to wake up now, before we destroy the planet. So let's see this next chart that I'd like to show you.
The best human beings are the good ones. They are the saints who provide everyone with balance.
I'm not referring to the saints of the churches. Well, those as well, of course, they are exceptional creatures. But I'm simply referring to good people who have a good heart, who seek to do good, and especially those who seek to do good for society, for others. And if we don't do this, we are useless in the world. Let's see now, secondly.
The individuals who are geniuses and who generate great development,
they are the very best of human beings. And thirdly,
the honest scientists are fundamental for existence. Observation. We would like our viewers to note that they are very rare.
I am speaking of honest scientists, because there are many scientists out there who want to work for the economically powerful, just in order to make more profits. Instead of helping the people to develop, to have a better life, they work for the development of the powerful, of the completely greedy ones, who do not need to have so much power, who should not be allowed to continue whipping the people into serving them as they do, nor cause the privation that they cause. Look now at a person who is an example for us all.
Our Lady, the Mother of Christ.
Exactly. I made a little chart in order to show her work. Let's see.
The Mother of Christ, who is also the Mother of humanity. First, she is without the original sin, therefore she has no envy,
nor arrogance, nor hatred. She does not have this. So, she is the only human being who lived on earth, whom, let's say, we are not equal to. She is between us and God. This is why the example that she gave to us is so that through her example we can reach the divine being. And let's see now, secondly.
She has the perfect feeling of love. Her thought is the truth, and her action is perfect and aesthetic. The Mother of Christ is an example for all of us human beings. This is the path for humanity. All the people have to accomplish her path to reach God.
I made a chart that deals with this issue. Take a look. It's a chart that shows that our society is surrounded by fallen beings. Look there in the center, full of dark spiritual beings, demons, and humans who are called condemned people. So, surrounding these unhappy beings are we, the human beings. And we are being influenced by them. But, on the other hand, above us is... Would you like to read, Claudia?
The angels, the archangels, the cherubims, the seraphims.
Who are perfect spirits. And above them?
Well, then there is Our Lady, who is Mary, who has the perfect body and spirit.
And then up there we have the Divine Trinity.
And it conducts us to the Divine Trinity through the Son of God, Jesus Christ, who has an infinite spirit and a perfect body as well.
So take a look at this figure then.
It's Jesus Christ, the Son of Mary.
I would like to say the following, that I once participated in the Confafil, which is a religious Christian theological society that existed here at the University of Anchieta. And there was a dean there by the name of Ladusens who invited me to participate. So I wanted to show them there that they speak of the Christ of God, who brought religion, as if he were just a religious figure. Do you see, a theologian like all the others? Instead of the fact that, among other things, he brought the real philosophy to us here. It's well known that in our universities and other institutions we study Kant, they study Marx, Freud, they study Hegel, and many other thinkers. But they don't see Christ as a thinker. And it's exactly he who brought a philosophy, what the Germans called Weltanschauung, a philosophy of life that is the most perfect of all. It's not something to be hidden inside churches, like a recluse, or looking for some little miracles. That's not what it's about. Christ cured people with enormous facility. That is, among other things, he was a type of physician, a super physician. But his main function was to bring a philosophy of life in order for the human being to live well. Look at what he based himself upon.
The Christian philosophy. Jesus Christ was the greatest philosopher of all humanity.
And secondly,
he brought what was most precious, love one another.
So notice, this is not only an issue of religion, like you should love one another in order to be able to go to heaven. That's not it. It's that love is the cure to all sicknesses. So he would say, of course, as he was God, he would say to love one another in order to have a good life here on the earth, right here indeed. But the human being, especially the sicker ones, are experts at hating one another.
In fact, to love one another, to do unto others that which we do unto ourselves.
Exactly. So let's see what I've written in third place.
Tolerance with a vision of one's errors, which is a philosophy of pardon. Observation. Without these positive aspects, humanity will not be able to survive.
Do you get it? I discuss here on a scientific television program Christian ideas, to say that Christ did not live in the synagogue like a rabbi preaching to the people. Christ lived among the people. He was from the people. He brought a way of thinking to help the people. He did not live here in order to provide a little church for the Jewish people. So if a people are having difficulties, if a human being is having difficulty, then why not follow what he said, which is for us here on the earth, now, in order for us to live well now. So I made a chart about the human being's action. Let's take a look.
Action makes the human being. Each person is remembered based on what they accomplished.
Isn't it so? If, for example, you think of Mozart, or Beethoven, or Brahms, you think of the music that they composed. If Beethoven had not written any symphonies, composed nothing, he would have passed by unnoticed in the world. Or if a painter or a scientist did not do anything of importance, he would not be remembered. So the human being is worth what he accomplishes. If he does things for good, he will be remembered as a good person. If he does things for evil, then he will be remembered as a type of a devil. So let's see, secondly.
If one accomplishes goodness, one is remembered for the goodness one does. If one accomplishes evil, one will be remembered for the evil one does. Like Hitler, Stalin, Nero, if the individual does not accomplish anything, he will be immediately forgotten.
It's not because so-and-so is called Caesar, or this guy is Augustus, or the Queen of England. If a person didn't do anything of value, then he doesn't have any value. He isn't worth anything. If he did accomplish something, then he has value. So what an individual is worth is the action that he does. Take a look at this sentence that I've got for you now.
The world, even having been badly treated and plundered, is the divine kingdom that God organized, and we are destroying it, aren't we, Dr. Keppe?
Exactly. So we produce these programs in order to show the importance of accomplishing goodness. Now, I would like to show you a drawing of an iceberg. You know, the Titanic sank because it hit an iceberg. And they say that the part that is below the water is actually the dangerous part. Now, referring to the drawing, consider well, because this also represents the human being. The top part there is what he is aware of, and all the rest of his consciousness is below the surface, deep down in the water,
without being used.
So all of this that is underwater is what the human being should be using. But he only uses 10%, 7% of the goodness that he can be doing, and the rest he stifles.
So, we'll be back next time to continue our program that talks about triological science. See you then.